Welcome, esteemed panel, to what promises to be an insightful excavation into the heart, soul, and endlessly elastic face of American culture, The Simpsons. Let's jump right in. Initial thoughts, Richard?
The Simpsons didn't just push the envelope. Man, it set the envelope on fire. Early on, it was like a mirror reflecting society's crazy family portrait. Warts and all, but with a lot more yellow. Reflecting society? Please, it skewered it, roasted it, and served it for dinner. The early Simpsons was pure, unadulterated satire, the kind that makes you laugh and then makes you think, should I be laughing at this?
Ah, yes, but beneath the laughter, there's this tender heart beating. It's like they throw a pie in your face, and while you're still laughing, they hand you a napkin to clean yourself up. It's comedy with a soul.
And let's not forget the impact of the characters. I mean, Marge Simpson, a blue-haired matriarch holding the chaos together. She could have given Lucy Ricardo a run for her money. It's comedy that spans generations, finding humor in the mundane and the absurd.
They've managed to stay relevant by being sharp observers of the human condition. They cut through the BS of society with a precision that's almost surgical. It's not just humor, it's a societal critique wrapped in a cartoon.
With an arsenal of wit, wisdom, and wackiness, The Simpsons has indeed carved its unique spot in the annals of TV history. Each character, a mosaic tile in a larger portrait of a society that manages to laugh at itself, continuously evolving, yet somehow staying fundamentally the same. Let's kick this off with how The Simpsons has been slicing through the fabric of humor over its decades-long run. Richard, how do you see its comedic evolution?
Man, when The Simpsons first hit, it was like nothing else. You got this yellow-skinned kid Bart pulling pranks on the whole town, and it felt real, It showed life's raw sides, pushing boundaries way before its time.
True, but it wasn't just raw for the sake of being raw. The show had a sharpness, a clever way of holding up a mirror to society. It wasn't afraid to bite the hand that feeds, figuratively speaking.
Speaking of sharpness, I admired the wordplay and satire. It was like my brothers and I were reborn with yellow paint. But don't forget, the real art of humor is making the serious digestible, and The Simpsons mastered that recipe long before any of us got a taste.
And let's not overlook the heart. Remember Mother Simpson? That episode brought tears to the eyes beneath my mascara. It blended humor with such emotional depth, showing that laughter can coexist with a powerful narrative.
Exactly, Lucille. It's the evolution from slapstick to sophisticated, emotionally resonant humor that really marked The Simpsons as a seminal work. They moved from eat my shorts to heart-tugging fare that pulls at your very soul.
But let's not get all mushy here. The Simpsons was, at its core, a comedic revolution.
A revolution, sure, but it wasn't just about being edgy. It's the intelligence, the satire. It's poking fun at everything sacred, leaving no stone unturned. That's where it hits hard and true.
Undoubtedly. It was witty, but never lost its relevance. Sharp as a tack, but never drawing blood. Well, except perhaps in Itchy and Scratchy.
It takes a special kind of genius to create humor that resonates across the board. The Simpsons is like a fine wine. It only gets better with age.
Speaking of aging, it's fascinating how the humor evolved to fit the times. What started as poking fun at a nuclear family in a small town became a multifaceted look at our entire culture. It's like watching humanity grow up, one laugh at a time.
Well, evolution or not, as long as they steer clear of becoming a self-parody, they might just stay relevant for another 3 decades. But what do I know? I'm just a man who once said marriage is a wonderful institution. But who wants to live in an institution?
And with those wise words, we wrap up our dive into the humor evolution of The Simpsons. Thank you, panel, for your insights. Let's dive into how The Simpsons characters have left their mark on global pop culture. Lucille, why don't you kick things off?
Well, Bob, it's no surprise that characters like Marge Simpson remind us of the trailblazers in comedic storytelling. Just as Lucy Ricardo broke molds, Marge in Marge versus the Monorail showed a woman taking charge in a male-dominated society. It's about shaking up the status quo, darling.
Shaking up the status quo? Please, I've seen cheese wheels that caused more upheaval. But you're not wrong about Marge. Though I must say, the real cultural icons are those with a cigar and a witty retort for everything.
Speaking of shaking up the status quo, Bart and Lisa are the epitome of anti-establishment, similar to my fan base. They question everything, mock the absurdity of societal norms, and aren't afraid to say what we're all thinking. That's the kind of influence that outlasts any government policy or pop culture trend.
And don't forget about Apu. Despite the controversy, much Apu About Nothing showed us the complexity of immigration issues with dignity and humor. Groundbreaking representation, man. Faces on TV that finally look like people we know.
Complexity and dignity. Honey, we've been weaving that narrative thread since television was in black and white.
Indeed, Lucille. But what makes The Simpsons so unique is how they managed to do it with such a wide array of characters. Everyone from Krusty to Mr. Burns provides a mirror to society. Even the most outrageous character has a piece of truth to them.
A mirror to society? More like a funhouse mirror. But that's what makes it brilliant. The exaggeration tells a bigger truth than straightforward storytelling ever could.
Truth is exactly the point, Groucho. The Simpsons have been speaking truths through satire and humor in a way that's accessible. You get your laughs and a dose of reality check in one sitting.
That's the beauty of it. They take what we know, flip it, and make us look at ourselves and our world a little differently. Ain't that the essence of what we do as comedians?
Absolutely, Richard. It's about reflection, but with a smile. The Simpsons manages to be a comfortingly satirical mirror of our sometimes absurd reality.
It's clear that through their daring humor, rich character tapestry, and bold social commentary, The Simpsons have carved an indelible mark on global pop culture. Each character, from the hilariously flawed Homer to the eternally hopeful Lisa, reflects and challenges our societal norms. All right, folks, let's dive into the meat and potatoes of The Simpsons, the satire and social commentary. George, why don't you kick us off?
Gladly. The Simpsons has this knack, you see, for stabbing right at the heart of societal norms. Take Homer versus Lisa and the Eighth Commandment, for example. It's television daring to show us our own reflection, warts and all. It's not just about stealing cable. It's a lens on our own moral justifications, our hypocrisies. It laughs in the face of our so-called modern morals.
Speaking of morals, I once knew a woman who was so moral she divorced her husband because he was just too physical. He kept breaking into applause. But on a more serious note, The Simpsons treads that fine line, poking fun without pushing you off the cliff. It's the art of the jest, gently nudging society to look at itself in the mirror and hopefully not crack it.
Ah, but therein lies the magic, doesn't it? It's one thing to lampoon the world around us, quite another to do it with a kind of tender-hearted needle. Lisa's Substitute, where Lisa finds a mentor who actually gets her, who shows her that sensitivity and intelligence aren't liabilities. The show's like a defibrillator for the human spirit, shocking us but reminding us we're alive, capable of deep feeling amidst the chuckles.
And let's not forget, they ain't just throwing darts in the dark. They're shining a light on the spots we try to hide. The Simpsons isn't about making fun for fun's sake. It's about exposing those shadowy parts of our culture, our politics. It forces a conversation, and sometimes, that conversation gets a bit heated, gets folks a bit uncomfortable. But that's the point, ain't it? If you're not ruffling feathers, you're just preening.
Well, I have to say, I admire the way Marge handles the chaos. She's like every woman trying to keep the peace in a world that's perpetually on the brink of madness. The Simpsons has a way of showing that women, while often the voice of reason, are also flawed, complex, and above all human. It's satire, but it's also a slice of life coated with a thick layer of humor.
Exactly, Lucille. And what gets me is how they pull no punches, not with politics, not with society, not with anything. 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes on every fish is a prime example. They took a jab at environmental oversight and political corruption without pulling a single punch. Only The Simpsons can make you laugh and seethe with righteous indignation in the same breath.
And that's the rub, isn't it? The ability to incite laughter and provoke thought without alienating the very society you're satirizing. It's like hosting a dinner party where you insult every guest, but have them leave thinking they've had the best time of their lives.
And in that laughter, there's a subtle invitation to change, to grow. It's comedy as a form of gentle rebellion, where every joke is a nudge towards self-reflection, a little push towards becoming a bit more aware, a tad more compassionate.
A testament to the power of humor, then. The Simpsons skillfully walks that knife edge between satire and social commentary, challenging us to think while we laugh. It's not just entertainment, it's a reflection of ourselves, our society, and the absurdity of our existence, presented in a way that's both digestible and provocative. Let's remember, in the end, the mirror, The Simpsons, holds up to us is only as effective as our willingness to look into it and recognize ourselves. All right, let's dive into the splash celebrities make in Springfield. It's undeniable that these appearances inject a unique zest into The Simpsons. Lucille, your thoughts?
Honey, having a celebrity walk into the middle of Springfield is like serving a steak at a vegetarian dinner. It's surprising, sometimes unwelcome, but always memorable. Just look at my friend Michael Jackson in Stark Raving Dad. The episode didn't just ride on his fame, it weaved his persona into the very fabric of the story.
Well, I must say, using celebrities in the show is like having a guest over who insists on doing the dishes. You appreciate the help, but you're constantly worried they'll break something valuable. Not to mention, the show somehow manages to both lampoon and lionize their personas, a tightrope act that's fascinating to observe. Man, I gotta tell you, it's bold. Like Johnny Cash bringing his profound yet rugged charm to that space coyote. That wasn't just stunt casting. That was making a statement, showing how even the most unexpected guest can leave a lasting mark on the show and on us.
Celebrities in The Simpsons serve as a mirror to the absurdity of our own cultural obsessions. They're not just there to decor the place up, but to point out the ridiculousness of our star-obsessed culture. It's genius, really.
Oh, absolutely. The genius is not just in having them there, but in how they're seamlessly integrated into the fabric of Springfield. Take Dustin Hoffman in Lisa's Substitute. Didn't matter. He was under a pseudonym. It was the soul he brought to the role. It's like inviting a unicorn to a pony show. Suddenly, everything seems a bit more magical.
And isn't there something delightful about seeing these giants poking fun at themselves? There's a bravery in vulnerability, a truth in the laughter.
It's more than bravery. It's a testament to the show's gravitational pull. They don't just want to be a part of it. They want it to contribute to its legacy of satire and social commentary. Their presence alone doesn't make the episode. It's how they meld with the essence of The Simpsons.
Indeed, and despite my inherent distrust of guests, remember, I never forget a face, but in your case, I'll be glad to make an exception. The show manages to maintain its identity. It's never the celebrity name show. It's always The Simpsons, and that's the brilliance of it. Yeah, and it's not just about the laughs. They bring depth, humanity even. There's a shared connection, a realization that celebrities, they're just like us, only with better PR.
Spot on, Richard. And in each celebrity voice, whether it be a laugh, a cry, or a soulful song, there lies a universal truth waiting to be unveiled, making Springfield the perfect stage for the human condition.
Well, it seems unanimous. The celebrity appearances on The Simpsons are not mere gimmicks, but pivotal pieces that contribute to the show's legacy. A reflection of the times, an echo of humanity, and proof that in the end, we're all part of this wonderful, wacky world of Springfield. Today, we're diving into political parody in The Simpsons. Some say it's genius, some say it's risky. Carlin, kick us off. What's your take?
Political satire is the grease in the wheels of democracy. The Simpsons didn't pull any punches. 2 cars in every garage and 3 eyes on every fish was a brilliant take on environmental policy and political corruption. If you're not making someone uncomfortable, you're not doing it right.
Well, that's all fine and dandy, but let's not forget, subtlety is the key to satire. You can ridicule without alienating. The show knew how to dance that line, like I knew how to dance around a good insult. Political critique? Absolutely. But make them laugh while they swallow the medicine. I gotta say, though, there's something about laughing in the face of adversity. The Simpsons made a mockery of everything we're told to respect blindly. It's provocative. It made us think. Isn't that the point?
Absolutely, Richard. Humor is a vehicle for truth, and what The Simpsons mastered was dressing up critique in a way that was palatable for the masses. Mr. Lisa Goes to Washington showed us that even a child could see through political farce, and isn't there something beautifully honest about that?
The beauty of The Simpsons was its fearlessness. They tackled everything head-on, no matter how controversial. It stirs the pot, causes discussion. That's the essence of great comedy and great democracy.
Discussion, yes, but let's not inflate the importance of a TV show too much. We're not talking about the second coming of Thomas Paine here. It's all about entertainment in the end, isn't it? Give the people a chuckle and a nudge, not a lecture.
I think what made it special was its ability to merge the two. Politics doesn't always have to be so drab. When you wrap a message in humor, people listen, perhaps more than when you're shouting from the soapbox.
But you gotta wonder if all this poking fun has made us too cynical. Where's the line?
The line? The line is in making sure the laughter unites us, not divides. The Simpsons had a knack for making us laugh together at the absurdities of our own reality. In that shared laughter, there's something profoundly healing.
It seems our comedic pedigree here agrees. The Simpsons not only made us laugh, but think, reflect, and sometimes even change the channel, but always with a keen eye on the follies of our society. That, folks, is the uncanny ability of satire, and The Simpsons wielded it like a finely tuned instrument. All right, diving into The Simpsons' knack for predictions. Seems like they've got a crystal ball in that writer's room, doesn't it? Richard, kick us off.
Let me tell you, it's not about having a crystal ball. It's about poking fun at society to the point where you accidentally get it right. Bart to the Future. Man, that episode wasn't trying to be Nostradamus. It was a jab at the absurdity of politics. And look at us now, laughing, because if we don't, we'll cry.
You hit the nail on the head, Richard. It's all about the absurdity of truth. Society's so goofy, the writers just throw darts at a board of what's next, and bam, reality catches up. It's not foresight, it's inevitability. Predicting the future? More like documenting the present with a delay.
Speaking of delays, my breakfast was so late this morning, I almost ran into my lunch. But on the topic at hand, you're all giving too much credit to guessing games. The real magic is not in predicting, it's making it funny. Anyone can say something might happen, but making it hilarious, now that takes skill.
I couldn't agree more, Groucho. It's the laughter we remember, not the prophecy. Creativity in the room where it happens, that's where the focus should be. These predictions, they're just serendipity sprinkled with satire. The real work is crafting stories that last, that tell us who we are, foibles and all.
Absolutely, it's the human condition on display. Maybe it's not about predicting the future or having this cultural intuition. Perhaps it's more about understanding human folly so deeply that eventually reality can't help but imitate art. It's art imitating life, imitating art in a spectacular loop.
And the beauty is, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Politicians, celebrities, societal norms, they're the ripe fruits for the picking in comedy. The Simpsons just happens to pick at the right time, and the cycle of absurdity continues.
Right, it's all cyclical. Their so-called predictions are just mirrors reflecting our societal carousel, going round and round, and occasionally you spot your reflection in the right spot at the right time. Well, mirrors never lie. Lucky for you, they don't laugh either. The point being, roast today's goose, and tomorrow it becomes prophecy. Simple as that.
And amidst all this, what remains constant is the family, the heart of The Simpsons. They ground these wild predictions and satires in relatable emotions and situations. That's the real genius.
Genius indeed. It's poking at the cosmos with a stick, saying, "Come on, show me what you've got." And sometimes the cosmos pokes back with a nod and a wink.
Sounds like whether through intuition or the inanity of life, The Simpsons manages to hold a mirror up to our future, intentionally or not. And maybe, just maybe, the reason it resonates is because, at the core, it's all grounded in our shared human experiences. Guess we're more predictable than we thought. Let's dive into the crux of The Simpsons, family dynamics and values. This show's got more layers than my Uncle Harry's wedding cake. Lucille, kick us off, will ya?
Well, Bob, just like in I Love Lucy, The Simpsons shows us that a family might bicker and have their quirks, but at the end of the day, they stick together. It's the heart versus the harp, if you know what I mean. In Marge versus the Monorail, Marge's determination to save Springfield shows just how deeply her love for family and community runs.
That's the sugar-coated version, Lucille. The Simpsons doesn't shy away from the nitty-gritty. Take Lisa's first word. They delve into sibling rivalry, the fear of being overshadowed by the new baby. It's raw, it's real. The show tells it like it is. Family ain't always pretty, but it's always family.
And let's not gloss over the societal screwball pitch it throws. Bart's antics, Homer's buffoonery, it's not just for laughs. They're mirroring the chaos, the imperfection of the average American household. It's a satire, right smack in the nuclear family's living room.
Mirroring chaos? Bah! They turned the mirror into a funhouse reflection. You think the average family has continuous exploits like Homer getting abducted by aliens or Bart becoming a faith healer? Please, they've stretched family dynamics into a caricature, but admittedly, one that tickles the funny bone.
But that caricature, Groucho, it's filled with love. Remember Lisa's Substitute, where Lisa finds a mentor in Mr. Bergstrom? It's that emotional depth, teaching us that family isn't just blood. It's about those who step in to fill those voids of the heart. The Simpsons might stretch reality, but at its core, it's stretching our understanding of what it means to be part of a family.
Stretching reality, perhaps, but embedding real lessons in those stretches. The beauty of The Simpsons is in its dance between humor and heart. Even you must see that, Groucho.
I see it, Lucille, as clearly as I see the folly in arguing with a woman who has television reruns older than my trousers. Yes, The Simpsons spin a good yarn on family dynamics, but the real lesson here is laughter binds us all, dysfunctional or not. And ain't that the truth? Dysfunctional, functional, it doesn't matter. The Simpsons shows every color of family life and how, through all the ups and downs, we're still a family. That's its genius.
Genius or not, they've kept us talking for over 3 decades. That's a family reunion I don't mind attending.
Let's delve into why both tots and their grandparents find something to love about The Simpsons. Groucho, you've seen more turns of the calendar than most. Kick us off, would you?
Well, Bob, it's simple. The Simpsons is like a good salad, layers. Kids laugh at the talking yellow people, while adults are digesting the hearty croutons of societal critique. In my day, humor was a one-man job, but now it seems you need an entire family.
Absolutely, Groucho. It's like peeking into a kaleidoscope. Kids see bright colors and shapes, and adults, well, they see a complex pattern unfolding. It's improvisational jazz with Homer's dough as the baseline, keeping it all groovy for everyone.
Yeah, but let's not start patting anyone on the back too hard. It's subversive, sure. The reason it appeals across generations is because it's honest. Kids might not get all the satire, but they recognize when adults are being hypocritical, stupid, or just plain silly. It's the raw truth, sugar-coated in slapstick.
Speaking of honesty, I think it teaches kids about the world without sugarcoating it too much, but in a way that's digestible. It reminds me of when I'd try to sneak a message into a skit. If you wrap a lesson in laughter, it's easier to swallow.
That laughter's the thing, ain't it? It's like the spoonful of sugar. You got Homer smacking into something. That's the sugar. But the medicine? That's Lisa's saxophone blues telling you something deeper. Kids might miss it, but it's there, waiting for them when they're older. And don't forget the timeless nature of it all. I mean, a good joke is a good joke, whether you're wearing knickers or those dreadful skinny jeans. The Simpsons doesn't discriminate. It throws punches in every direction. Humor that resonates across generations is rare indeed.
Rare but necessary. It's the spoonful of sugar and the bitter pill. It forces us to look in the mirror, even when we're laughing.
Exactly. And sometimes the kids, they get it before the adults do. They're not bogged down by all the baggage. They just see something that's true, or ridiculous, or wonderfully absurd.
So it's the blend of the immediate visual humor for the kids with the layered, often subversive themes for the adults. Thank you, panelists, for shedding light on the multi-generational appeal of The Simpsons. Sometimes it takes a bit of rebellion to speak to every age. Let's dive into censorship and controversies. The Simpsons never shied away from either. Opinions?
The beauty of The Simpsons lies in its ballsy approach. They've swung at everything sacred, and that's comedy gold. I mean, they took on religion, politics, no sacred cows for them, and that's how it should be.
Absolutely. But let's not forget the heat they caught for it. Like with Apu, it ruffled feathers, but it opened up a dialogue, didn't it? Comedy's supposed to slap you awake sometimes.
Speaking of ruffling feathers, they did push the envelope, but there's a finesse to it. You know, it wasn't just about stirring the pot. It mimicked life, amplified its absurdities. That's where the real genius lies.
Of course, they mimicked life. They practically held up a mirror to society's face and said, "Look at yourself, you nincompoop." Only the reflection was wearing a funny hat.
And amidst all that reflection, there's this beautiful thread of humanity. It's like, yes, we're poking fun at you, but we're also poking fun at us. It's a communal experience of the human condition.
That's right. But let's not sugarcoat the pill. Some folks just can't take a joke. They clamor for censorship when what they really need is a good mirror. The Simpsons gave them that mirror, but drew a mustache on it first.
They push the line, sure, but there's growth in discomfort. If you're not willing to challenge your viewpoints, why are you watching satire?
And despite the controversies, they knew their audience. They understood the importance of balancing humor with storytelling. You can't just throw punches. You gotta hug sometimes.
A hug with a squirt flower in your lapel.
Exactly. It's about the surprise, the joy, the shared laughter amidst the chaos of those subjects. The Simpsons managed to wrap its arms around the whole spectrum, touching on delicate issues without leaving bruising. Well, not too much, anyway.
They've navigated through turbulent waters with grace and wit, challenging norms, sparking debates, yet keeping us laughing all the way. That's the art of true comedy, wouldn't you say?
It's not just comedy, it's a philosophical doctrine. Question everything, especially this cartoon.
And at the heart of it, that's what keeps The Simpsons relevant. They're the jesters speaking truth to power.
As long as there's life, there will be Simpsons episodes that resonate because at its core, it's about us. It's our reflection, laughing back.
All right, let's dive into the shark-infested waters. What's the future hold for The Simpsons? Evolution, or are we looking at the last hurrah?
You know, in my day, television was called a vast wasteland. Now they call it streaming, but the wasteland seems just as vast. For The Simpsons, the trick is not to evolve or end, but to outwit the wasteland.
Evolution. End. Fancy words for a simple problem. The Simpsons survived because they're never afraid to stick it to the man. As long as the man exists, and he will, there's more road for the Simpsons to travel.
Oh, come on, George. It's not about sticking it or not sticking it to anyone. It's about resonance. As long as they can resonate with a kid watching for the first time or some old geezer reminiscing about the 90s, they've got legs. Infinity legs, maybe?
Darling, I've seen shows come and go. The key is adaptability without losing your soul. The Simpsons has a soul, a rather yellow four-fingered soul, but a soul nonetheless. They need to keep that.
Man, you all are missing the point. It's about the stories, the heart. People don't watch The Simpsons just because it's funny. They watch because it mirrors the absurdities of our own lives. As long as humanity remains absurd, The Simpsons has a place. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the absurdist of them all? If The Simpsons can still claim that title, then they've got nothing to worry about.
Here's the thing, though. Do they still claim it? The world's become a parody of itself. The Simpsons used to be ahead of the curve. Now they're running to keep up.
Ah, but aren't we all just running to keep up, George? They have the unique talent of running in a very entertaining way. Plus, don't you think the crazier the world gets, the more we need The Simpsons to help us laugh at it?
Laughter, absolutely. But evolution is about more than just keeping up. It's about leading. The Simpsons led for decades. The question is, can they find a new path and lead us down it again?
They've done it before. Remember, they started off as a short on a variety show. Look at them now. If that ain't evolution, I don't know what is.
So it sounds like we're banking on their ability to adapt, to lead, and to continue mirroring our absurd existence, but with enough innovation to stay fresh. That's no small feat, but if any show can do it, maybe it's The Simpsons. All right, folks, we've reached the final curtain. Let's hear your unabashed views on The Simpsons and its indelible mark on our world. Richard, kick us off, will you?
You know, The Simpsons ain't just a show, it's a mirror reflecting everything twisted and hilarious about society. They got away with stuff that we never could, pushing boundaries and making us laugh with the hard truth. That's genius, if you ask me.
Genius? Sure, but let's not forget, The Simpsons showed us the absurdity of our own contradictions, man. They took our sacred cows, barbecued them, and fed them back to us, making us ask, why were we worshiping this in the first place?
Speaking of sacred cows, they never invited me on the show. Probably afraid I'd outshine Homer with my mustache alone. But I admire their tenacity, skewering politics, religion, and everything under the sun. Comedy is the most effective weapon, and they were armed to the teeth.
Oh, cut the malarkey, Groucho. They knew how to balance the satire with heart. It's not all about the laughs. It's about seeing ourselves in the Simpsons family, embracing the chaos and the love that keeps them together. That's something perennial, transcending time.
Absolutely, Lucille. There's this raw honesty in their storytelling, swirled with whimsy and madness, that just speaks to the soul. They could dance between the absurdity of a three-eyed fish and the poignant moments of a family dinner without missing a beat. Pure alchemy.
Well, I for one think The Simpsons held up a funhouse mirror to the world, exaggerating our flaws, yes, but also spotlighting our potential for joy, resilience, and reflection. They've outlasted and outlaughed so many simply because they dared to show life in its bizarre totality.
And let's not forget, they did it with style. Who else could make yellow the color of truth?
Truth wrapped in a cartoon, the spoonful of sugar making the medicine go down. Except sometimes the medicine's laced with a bit of arsenic for good measure.
Arsenic and old lace, Carlin? Sounds like a typical Friday night at my place. But indeed, The Simpsons made us gulp down that concoction like it was mother's milk.
As much as we've bantered here today, the underlying truth is The Simpsons changed the game. It allowed us to laugh at ourselves, question the world, and remember not to take everything so darn seriously.
And in the end, isn't that the true gift of comedy? To lighten our hearts while enlightening our minds. The Simpsons certainly did both, leaving an indelible mark on the canvas of pop culture.
Well said, everyone. The Simpsons is not just a show, it's a cultural touchstone, offering laughs, lessons, and a lens through which to view our ever-evolving society. It's been a wild ride through Springfield with all of you today. Thanks for the laughs, the insights, and of course, the debates.